I would like to put my tax perspective on the recent collapse in the Bitcoin price over the last 2 months. By the beginning of October, the price of Bitcoin has gone down, down, down. And here it is towards the latter part of November, it's still going down. In parallel with this, if you look on a chart, you'll see that significant volumes of Bitcoin have moved, but also significant volumes of Zcash are being bought. These are in parallel, and the price of Zcash has skyrocketed. It's up 10x in this 2 month window. Here's my perspective on why this is happening. I believe it's significantly related to fear that OG investors who have large bags of crypto, whale investors who are starting to realize that they have significant exposure to criminal indictment, that the tax authorities are looking to put them in jail and basically seize their Bitcoin for charging them against tax evasion and money laundering charges. Why is this? At the beginning of October, the news came out that Roger Ver had done a plea bargain with the IRS, the Department of Justice, to settle a case where he was charged for his Bitcoin movements and failure to report them on a tax return. And they went back 10 years to prove this. And they described techniques they used for taking certain addresses and then tracing his connection to other addresses using advanced mathematical subgraphing techniques to determine movements. And then they were able to reconstruct his portfolio back in time and show that sales didn't happen. And basically, he was caught red handed with unreported cryptocurrency. Now, I'm not going to get into the details of his court case, but he did settle. I think he ended up plea bargaining for a settlement of 50 million. Well, the OG Bitcoin holders saw what was happening, saw how they were being traced. And along with the advent of the 1099 DA, which is going to start coming out in January, then in a year from now, the crypto asset reporting framework, CARF, is going to start doing the same thing, all sorts of foreign exchanges. What does this mean? So once you, as an OG trader, you use one of your old wallet addresses and bring it to an exchange to cash out a small amount, you have now exposed that wallet to the tax authorities to know that it's your wallet. From that, they can start to trace and connect all your other activities. And what trader is there who started trading in 2020 or earlier who failed to report his cryptocurrencies accurately? I mean, most people didn't know how to do it, and you have indictable offenses, they can come after you. So what's happening here? A lot of large crypto investors are taking their Bitcoin and they're swapping it for Zcash. Zcash is a zero knowledge based financial transaction system. It's a soft fork off of Bitcoin, and it's zero knowledge, which means that you can validate the authenticity of the trade without disclosing who the buyer and the seller are or how much was traded. So it's very supreme privacy token. So people are exchanging their Bitcoin, going into Zcash, moving to another exchange or platform, and then taking that Zcash and then they're buying other assets, maybe Bitcoin, maybe other assets, maybe cashing out. So this is why we're seeing such a steep demand coming into Zcash, but it's only going to be there temporarily. Once it's there, then they move it to another platform and they can get out of Zcash. And if you look, you'll see that the price of Zcash actually came down significantly in this past week because this rollover trade, if you will, is starting to slow down. I mean, so much of it has happened. I believe this is a very significant thing. I was tipped off to this by a video that Andrew Tate put forward last week or so, middle of November, and where he talked about how authorities were coming after large holders, whales, and trying to get their money through what they call money laundering. Money laundering, in fact, what he proposed telling people to use this Zcash rollover method. However, that is, of course, another money laundering activity. If you are a crypto trader, you're basically between a rock and a hard place. If they're going to find you one way or the other, I guess that's your choice. I will say this, that it's important for everyone to report all their income. If you have prior years that you didn't report completely, there's a limit how far back you can go to amend that. And I think it's very important for anyone to start to make a plan to live in a compliant manner. And that way you can keep more and more of your cryptos. If you have any questions, you can contact our office to discuss that. But this is my take on why we're seeing such a drop in the Bitcoin price. I don't see it as a 4-year cycle. I think it's being driven by tax authorities and fear of being caught. And I think basically people are rolling out getting out of all their old addresses and getting into new addresses that can't be traced to the past. That's basically what's involved there. So do not do this lightly, because any use of a privacy token is considered a high risk activity. If you ever got audited, you may find you have problems cashing out if you have too much high risk activity. So all my best to you.